Hi everyone, and welcome to our Stat 2 course. My name is Lori Austin, and I will be your instructor over the next 6 weeks. I have worked at RVCC for about 15 years and currently chair the Math and Computer Science Department, but my attention over these next 6 weeks will be completely on you and our course. I'm also teaching Pre-Calc 2, so I guess it'll be split between the two. So what I would like to do is kind of give you an overview of our course. We are going into Stat 2, you've all completed a Stat 1 course using the, I believe you used some of the Canvas notes that were created in-house. For this particular course, as we will do a little more computerized statistical analysis, we'll be using the Weiss textbook, so you will be required to purchase, if you purchase the MyMathLab, it will automatically give you your e-text along with the statistical software that we'll need for the course, but I'll get to that when I show you the Canvas course. Stat 2 is just a continuation of what you learned at the end of Stat 1. You kind of ended with where you take information about your sample to make inferences about entire populations. You did that through the use of confidence intervals, and you did some hypothesis testing with one sample mean, with one population. We will kind of refresh that in the first couple days of the course. You will continue with learning confidence intervals and hypothesis tests with one population mean, but then we're going to expand it into two populations. We'll eventually get to more than two populations. We will look at proportions as opposed to means. We'll look at categorical data using chi-square test statistics, analysis of variances, and we'll end with regression. So we have a lot more information, but we will be continuing with the theme of doing inferential statistics, meaning looking at information from a sample to determine if there's evidence in that sample to allow us to make a prediction about the population. So for now, I would like to turn over to our Canvas course so we can I can show you around the course and show you how you can learn everything. And it's a lot to learn in 6 weeks, but again, it is incredibly doable. And I think you will see that I've set up a course that is easy to follow and provide you with lots of resources. So when you first get on Canvas, this is kind of what you'll see. This is the student view. I take you right to this homepage screen. Many of you have seen it already. If you've kind of already looked at the course, this is what's been available to you. And it just gives you a little summary of the modules that you have over here on the side and what they do. We'll get to the actual modules in a second, and that is our weekly guide of all our notes, assignments, discussions, homeworks, and pretty much everything you need. Your grade book, I keep all the grades up to date as quickly as I possibly can, so you always know how you're doing in the course. I will communicate with you regularly through announcements. You can, if you really want to make sure you know when I send an announcement, you can put a notification on your phone if you'd like. But please understand, every day or every other day, this is a very quick course. You should be checking out those announcements and see what I send to you. This is how you're going to access our course material, and we'll get to that in a minute. This is not exactly our syllabus for the course. It's just what Canvas calls it, but it will provide you kind of a listing of all the graded assignments. I've actually put our paper syllabus in various attachments. Here's one of them. Some of you have already printed this, so on. And then of course the side, you see, yes, it's already telling you when the first set of assignments are due. We'll go through that in a second. So let's take a look at modules. This is where you're going to go through everything. I have created 6 modules, one for each week, plus this course information module. So in this course information module, of course, you will have found our welcome video. That isn't there because I'm making it right now. And then our syllabus. So let's start off by just taking a quick view of our syllabus. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you, but this is what you need to know. This is your contract for this course. So please download it, go through it, and everything. I do have an office on campus on West 318. I'm not always there every day as it's summer, so my office hours are by appointment. I can do virtual. Occasionally, I will be on campus and can meet you in person if that's what you prefer. Our classes, of course, are on Canvas. The exams at this time, though, and this is a requirement for all math online courses, must be taken in the RVCC Testing Center. I believe I've sent you that information already so that you can make a choice if you're going to remain in the course. So, of course, you will have had to complete Stat 1 with a C or better to take this course or received a 3 or higher on the AP Statistics exam. Required material, yes, we will be using material for this course. You can simply purchase the MyMathLab, and I'll go through where you can get that in a minute. Okay, it will provide you your full textbook. It'll also provide you something called StatCrunch, which is statistical software that you'll be able to link to a lot of your homework problems. And it'll provide a place to work out your homework as well. As you can see, we will be reviewing some of those chapters, some of the information you ended with in Stat 1, which was confidence intervals and hypothesis test for one population mean. The rest of it should be all new material. Our learning outcomes are listed here. Of course, if you have any documented learning disabilities, please get me that accommodation letter as soon as possible. If there are any violations of academic integrity, of course, I will follow all college policies regarding that. Our grading system is pretty straightforward. Your homework is worth 10%. The weekly discussion post, that's if you watch the videos, read through the notes, and actually look at the textbook. This is one of those courses where reading the textbook is pretty important. You will be able to answer the questions. They are not necessarily mathematical-based questions in the forums. They are more content-based questions. So basically, what did you learn? That kind of thing. So specific questions to that. There are online quizzes as well as online homework. This is all through MyMathLab, the homework and the quizzes, so that is also 10%. There are 3 exams. This course is broken into 3 units, 1 exam per unit. Those exams will be taken in the RVCC Testing Center, and they are worth 40% of your final grade. The final exam will also be taken. It is cumulative because at the end of the day, I need to be able to give you a problem and see if you can choose the appropriate test that needs to be done to solve that statistical problem. And the only way to do that is to give you the cumulative final exam. That will also be taken in the testing center. Here is our grading scale to determine letter grades at the end of the semester. So please note, you must earn at least a 50% on the final exam. In other words, if you only receive a 40% on the final exam, you have failed the course, unfortunately. So if you receive a 20 on the final exam, you just cannot pass this course. You must receive at least a 50% and also an overall score. So basically what that means is if you get a 60%, you get a 50 on the final and above a 60 for your overall grade, you technically pass the course with a D. You need that 70% to pass the course with a C. Now, you can get RVCC credit for a D, but you cannot transfer that to another institution. So you're going to aim for a 70 or above, along with that 50 above on the final. So the forum post, we'll go over those. There are about 2 or 3 each week. Again, this is just content clarification questions to make sure you understand what's going on. The homework, everything, the homework, the quizzes, these forum posts, there are weekly due dates, but everything has to be completed before you go in and take that test. So look at those test dates. That is the final date I will accept any homework, quiz, or forums from you. And I'll go over that with the schedule in a minute. All right. And you can certainly look through some of this other information. I do provide, and you should print this out, this will correspond to the modules I'm going to show you in Canvas. So in other words, week 1, we will be covering all these sections because a lot of this is review. There's only a handful of problems per section. You do not need to look, if you want to practice additional problems, I would suggest the odd problems that are in the textbook, but that is not necessary. So week 1, you are required to complete forums 1 and 2, MSL homeworks 8.1 through 9.7. There are 2 quizzes. The first quiz covers 8.1 to 8.3, and then the second quiz that week covers 9.1 to 9.4. So there is a lot more material in week 1, but again, the majority of that material, except for this very last item at the bottom in 9.7, is all review from Stat 1. As you can see, it gets a little less as we progress into week 2. Keeping in mind, this is a 15-week course condensed into 6 weeks. So this is everything. So basically everything up to 10.5, all of this work here must be completed before 6.3. All right. There are, you have to have, I will not accept any late work on anything in chapters 8, 9, and 10 after 6.3 because that's when the chapter test is. And then chapter 12, 13, and 16, all of that work, I will not accept any late work after 6.17 because that's when that test is. So again, if you think of this as 3 units, I think it'll help get you through the course a little bit easier and so on. So let's take a look at our modules. So here's week 1. I start with an introduce yourself forum. I suggest you click on that. You will get 2 points for that forum and just answer the questions and introduce yourself to the course, to your classmates. Now, I start each set of topics. This covers 8.1 and 8.2 with a video. These are videos I make. They're not from the publisher. It's as if you would be sitting in my classroom taking the class with me. So I suggest you watch the video, take notes on the video. I have some additional statistical notes here for 8.1 specifically, and then a couple homework problems from 8.1, and then 8.2, and then some homework problems. And the course pretty much follows that pattern. Here is a confidence interval when sigma is unknown. You may recall that is when you use the t-test statistic. Again, some notes for you to follow. You can have the notes out while you're watching the video. That might be helpful. And then, of course, the homework. And then when you're done that, it will be time to answer UB. If you complete all that work, you will be able to answer that first forum question with no problem. And then you'll be able to take that quiz. So you're just kind of progressing through these modules each day. There's statistical notes for 9.1. And there is the intro to hypothesis testing. So I'll even pop this up here. That could be, I'll put that above. This kind of takes you through the beginning of hypothesis testing. Again, that is review for you. I have a document to help you. Hypothesis testing is such an important part of this course, and we will be doing it in every section, that I have some steps for you to help you in conducting a hypothesis test. And then the course continues on. All right. So down here, this type 2 error, you probably did not get to this in Stat 1. This is kind of the first set of new material. All right. And if you get all that done in week 1, you're in great shape. And then you can continue into week 2. Again, video, some notes, some homework, and then a forum, and then a quiz. And you continue that until you go ahead and take the test. So all of that prior work must be completed by June 3rd, even though it may have other due dates, such as May 29th. That's to help keep you on pace. It must be completed by June 3rd. You will not be able to go back and do that work because right after June 3rd, again, there's no breaks in this course. You've got to keep going. It's condensed. It's 6 weeks. So after June 3rd, you jump right back into, there it is, Chapter 12, the next video, Test for Proportions, and continue. So hopefully that will help you. So you may be asking yourself, what are some of these MyMathLab? Well, I need to get out a student view for a second so I can show that to you because you did not use this in Stat 1. To register for MyLabs and Mastering, you can take a look at this document. It will give you all the information and the steps on how to register. You've already signed into Canvas because you're here watching the video. You can select any link or just come over here and click this MyLab and Mastering button. You can go through, and again, you need, if you don't have a Pearson username and password, if you have never used MyMathLab in a prior course, you will need to set one up. And again, go through everything. I will say the first time you go into it, you will have to register. You'll have to do a lot of acknowledgments, and you will need to pay. What I found is the most least expensive way to pay is pay directly when they ask you as you're registering. So have a credit card handy. Other than that, you can purchase the material in the RVCC bookstore, especially if you are on financial aid of any kind, in which case you will need to use the RVCC bookstore. So let me take you into MyMathLab. Once you set it up, this is what it'll start to look like. All right. Well, let me show you this real quick. First, once you have everything set up, when you click these homeworks, it won't work until you set it up. You can also do temporary access for 2 weeks. All right, so you can see homework 1 only has 1 question. They're not, some of them have 4 to 5 questions or 6 questions. And you go through and you can answer the question, and you need to do the work and answer the question. A lot of students find this a little kind of small, the way it's on the screen when it's embedded in Canvas. So what I was saying is you come over here to MyLab and Mastering. I want to leave this. And then you go directly into MyMathLab itself. It just gives you a little bit of a larger screen when you're doing your assignments. So this takes you out of Canvas, but what it does is now when you go into 8.1 and you click question 1, it just gives you a little bit of a larger screen to work with. So students kind of like working in here better. With this, you can get examples and help me solve this. You can view an example. It's a great way to learn. You can also get more help, and you can ask my instructor. So if you're really struggling with a problem, this will go to my RVCC Outlook email. You can send me a note. I'll take a look at it and maybe give you some hints or something along those lines. Just keep in mind, I will get back to you within 24 hours, but it is not instantaneous. I don't spend my day sitting on a computer. So let's go back a second. But let's suppose we wanted to look at one of the other assignments. And then you can also progress through your assignments here. Notice 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, and then the quiz. The homeworks you can redo over and over until you get 100. The quizzes you cannot. For some reason in the beginning, I give you 2 attempts. I don't know why. It should be 1, but that's okay. And then they narrow down to 1 attempt. You should only have 1 attempt on every quiz. I guess we'll just pretend those 2 attempts aren't there, and I gave you 2 attempts on the first couple quizzes. But as you get the hang of the course, it's just 1 attempt on the quizzes. But I will drop the 3 lowest quiz grades, so no worries there. And as you can see, as you progress in the course, the homeworks will get, a couple problems. I encourage you to start to use what we call StatCrunch, but I'll put that in a later video for you. All right, let me go back to our course. So hopefully this is enough to kind of get you started. I have everything open in case you want to move ahead. I did that on purpose. I just wanted you, since it's only 6 weeks, I wanted you to see the full 6 weeks so you know exactly when everything is. As far as your tests go, when it is time for a test, the information's here, but remember they must be taken in the RVCC Testing Center. So for example, test 1, chapters 8 to 10, I give you some information about the test, testing center hours. So please, you need to take those tests in the testing center. So I'm going to leave you with that for now. Again, that should be enough to kind of get you started. Feel free to ask me any questions as needed. You can post some general questions or content questions here. And I look forward to seeing you over the next 6 weeks.